Hello there. All right, so today we're going to go over some foam rolling techniques. We're going to cover just the major places that you're going to feel a lot of relief from, but also are pretty locked up in there at the same time. So we're going to be focusing on quads. Okay, we're going to kind of break this up into 3 different degrees. So you got 0 degrees here, you've got 45, okay, into there, into that lateralis, and then we can also work into this minus 45, sometimes 90 degrees, whatever you want to call it, inside the inner thigh as well. But for today, we're just going to be working straight down the line as rectus femoris here, okay, straight up, work through there. Okay, that muscle covers both those joints, the knee and the hip, so it's a huge bang for the buck to get after that muscle. Okay, so we're gonna work that, and then we're gonna switch over into our lats. Okay, so that whole way down here to really open up everything, getting overhead. If you're doing lots of pull-ups, kind of just take a lot of the pressure off your shoulder and work through there. We'll finish everything off with just rolling out our upper back, which is just really nice and kind of passive and nice to feeling something that feels good after maybe you work those 2 areas and everything just feels terrible. Okay, so we're gonna get down to this thing right now. All right, so got a rumble roller. You can use any foam roller you want. I'm gonna use the rumble roller, the small one, so you can see what I'm gonna be doing with this. If you have a larger roller, then you just want to take one side or the other to really focus on where you're hitting. All right, but you can also use a trigger point wheel. You could use a piece of PVC pipe that's really thick, okay, around that size. It's just really hard to do that. But anyways, let's get down to this and let's work into it, okay? So we're gonna start with that center line. I'm gonna demo kind of what we're doing here in a second, and then the positions you need to be and all that. So when we work on moving, okay, creating, taking care of those trigger points, but also we're gonna be pushing a lot of like waist, lymph, everything like that up. We're gonna be thinking about using the toothpaste analogy, all right? So your cap of your toothpaste is gonna be up towards the hip. So as we work here and as you work through a tube of toothpaste, you're gonna just basically squeeze all that up towards the cap. So we're gonna be working always from the knee towards the hip and towards the heart, all right? So we're gonna get into this thing. So if you can see right here, our motion pattern is gonna be like this when we get it. We're gonna start off right dead center, maybe about 1 inch to 2 inches above your kneecap, because we really don't wanna be rolling around right on the quad tendon right there. We wanna get into the muscle itself. So right there is where we start. We're gonna do some side to side motions, okay? We're gonna kind of break some stuff down, and then we're gonna take a deep breath in, and we're gonna exhale and push about 2 inches up. If you get to some place that is very heinous, we're gonna do some slight bit of knee flexion, okay, knee bends, just to kind of break and work through that as we go into it, okay? But let's get into positioning, okay, and we'll work into kind of the motion patterns on it, and you'll just kind of do 1 pass on each thigh when you start. You could do 2 passes, but you're gonna switch back and forth as you work through it. All right, so let's go through that. All right, so our first position we're gonna have here is we're gonna place the foam roller, like I said, right above that kneecap. We're gonna get into this figure 4 position, okay, or sniper position. You've got your elbows underneath your shoulders, you've got this knee out to the side, and we're letting our hips sink down and drop. You can see that my back foot is not touching the ground. We don't wanna have that in contact. We want everything to be in contact with the foam roller. This may be just terrible feeling, okay? So we're gonna start off, we're just gonna go side to side and just work through that. If you notice that your hips keep rising up, it's because it's just, you're kind of avoiding it by bringing your hips higher. We wanna work on trying to, as we do this, to keep our hips low. So side to side, just like so. I'm gonna do a couple knee flexes just to kind of work through that. That's pretty terrible, okay? So I can go a little bit and flex and extend, flex and extend. So I'm gonna take a deep breath in, exhale, and push to that new 2-inch position. I can reset my elbows and reset my leg back into that good figure 4 starting position. And again, I go side to side. I'm looking for just kind of where the ridge of tension is. So I've got a lot of tension right around there. So I'm gonna do a couple knee bends. Oh, right? Just working through that range of motion. Okay, little by little, exhale, inhale, exhale, and relaxing into it. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, push another 2 inches up, resetting everything again, side to side, letting it sit there. All right, so as you get to the center of your thigh, you're probably going to experience the most amount of discomfort. And as you work past that, it's going to feel a little bit better. But we don't want to avoid this. We want to spend this equal amount of time as anywhere, and even more if we can, in that ridge where that tension is. Okay, so again, flex and extend. Inhale on the flex, exhale into the roller. Okay, big breath in again. We're back. We're going up another 2 inches. Okay, and if you are a taller or shorter person, you may do smaller amounts of changes when you're moving up the thigh towards the hip. If you're taller, maybe you're gonna go 3 inches for every time you roll. If you're shorter, it might be just 1 inch, okay? So I'm using that 2 inches just for me. Okay, side to side, find where it's bad. Big breath in. Okay, flex, extend and work through, okay? Do that a couple times. And we keep moving up the thigh, all right? So I'm gonna go all the way now, show you that I'm going to the end, all right? So we can show kind of what we're gonna do. I'm gonna switch sides so you can see on camera what I'm getting into now that it's at the top of my hip, okay? So it's at the top of my hip, right here, all right? So right in that crease of the thigh and the hip, and you can spend some time. You can now let your back knee hit the ground, right? And I can even just kind of lean over and drape over it. And then I can work towards the side and kind of work into that hip flexor across that line towards the TFL, really kind of smashing everything down, working through that, trying to relax and breathe and just get after that little corner of your thigh and hip, okay? A lot of stuff gets really nasty and roped up from sitting around all day. So you're looking at, again, right here, okay, right below your where your drawstring is and elastic, okay, right about the pocket space right there, right across there. We're just going to kind of smash and work through there, okay? So as you've gone up that thigh, you've made it all the way to the hip crease, and now you're kind of working and addressing everything in this tight corner up here, and really working that. So, okay, you're going to do that on each side, on each thigh, to kind of really loosen up both those quads, right, to feel really good, okay? You can always test and retest by doing a squat if you need to, okay? Now that you've done leg, does it feel easier to get into this squat, right? Does it feel like your one leg just kind of sinks effortlessly into the position? So this can help a lot into your positions as you work this out, okay? But now what we're gonna do is, so we've done that, and then we're gonna hit our next big one. We're gonna work into that lat right there, okay? So on this one, we're gonna spend some time right where kind of everything comes together at that shoulder joint. So we're gonna spend some time going forward and backwards. As we lean backwards, we're gonna catch that rotator cuff, okay, a little bit of rear delt all through there. As we roll forward, we're gonna get more into the lat, okay, some of our, again, rotator cuff muscles that are in here. We're not gonna go over our pectoral at all. We're just gonna stay in this line across the side of our body. So as I'm here, okay, I'm gonna lay on my side, place that into that armpit. Now, one of the things that you'll do as you're doing foam rolling, if you ever have a point where something goes numb, that does not mean it's working better, okay? That means you're just basically flicking across a nerve and really pissing everything off. That would be a time frame where you would get off of this and not do this, okay? So, again, so if your hand goes numb or anything like that, that does not mean it's working better and really getting after everything inside there. That means you're just really pissing off a nerve, and that is not what we want at all, okay? We want this to feel change, we want it to feel better, and that's why we're working this, okay? So I'm into my armpit right here. I'm leaning forward. You see I'm not onto my pec at all. I'm just getting into the armpit, leaning back, kind of catching everything in this back end range. So I'm working across through there, okay? Same thing again. We're going to work now 2 inches this way, just like that, right? So front, back again, trying to catch anything that we have in here, okay, as I go back, okay? Really feels good right around there. So maybe I'll spend some time taking some deep breaths in through my nose and exhaling through my mouth. Just working through the lat, okay? Again, we'll go up a little higher, right? We're just kind of pushing everything down. I can lean back a little farther, catch that tip of that scapula, okay, right around there. Lean forward into my rib cage a little bit, back and forth, push up again, okay? Just really keep chasing it, lean back more, catch anything I can back there. Just work back and forth. Okay, and you just keep going up. Down that lat towards my hip this time. Okay, find something right around there. Spend some time. All right, and working through it. And then we keep working. You're gonna keep working that all the way down to the end of the lat. Probably just mid-rib is where you're gonna go, but everyone's a little bit different on that. But just down there, you don't want to go into the side here or just onto the rib cage. All right, so you can get to that. You can see that I just did that for a few seconds. I've already got a good amount of change just to go overhead with the elbows locked. Okay, that looks a lot better. All right, so just a quick run pass through that. When you're doing foam rolling, more is not always better. Doing this for an exorbitant amount of time is not recommended at all. Just a couple passes over it, maybe minute to 2 minutes max on each one of these spots. So minute, 2 minutes here, minute to 2 minutes here, maybe even less. Same thing on both sides, just so you can get all the way through those each side. Okay, so we've done both of those. And when you first start doing this, this could be really, really, really nasty, and you'll be sweating. It might even be worse than the workout that you just did. But as you do this more often, obviously I can talk while I do this. So it'll get better as you work on mobilizing these tissues, okay? So we're gonna end off with something that just feels good, especially if you do this maybe before you go to bed, just to kind of loosen up everything between your shoulder blades and kind of get everything through there. We're just gonna work on that upper back, and then that's how we'll finish everything off, and then you can get done and get to whatever you're doing, whether it's going to sleep, leaving the gym and going somewhere else to eat, whatever, okay? You can do this, all right? So we're just gonna take a foam roller here. We're not gonna be working into our lumbar, into our lower back at all. So we're gonna stay in that upper middle back area. So basically right above where my hand is. We're not gonna get in through here at all. So we're gonna place the roller right there. All right, so I've placed my roller right there. Okay, and all I'm gonna do right now, same thing. Okay, less passive. Okay, so more passive. We're just gonna work, sorry, I'm moving my mic. We're just gonna move, keep our hips on the ground, just kind of lean side to side, and work both sides of those erectors. Catch a little bit of our lower trap, just kind of work through there. Feet are flat on the ground. If I want to add more, I can bring my hips off the ground and work through the same thing side through side, like so. Okay, finding both into there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my arms and I'm gonna line those elbows up, which is gonna make my shoulders push apart, like so. And then I'm just gonna move a little bit up, go side to side, see if I catch anything on either side. It just feels good. You can arch your back a little bit into that upper back to kind of work through there. Okay, and I'm just gonna work up and down. You can go up and down on this, no problem. This isn't anything about kind of pushing anything around. So work through there, both sides. So I'm pretty locked up, but it feels good. Okay, just working through. We're not gonna go onto our neck at all, into the cervical spine at all. We're just gonna work through that upper back. Remember, you can lean side to side and kind of catch everything with the corner of your foam roller into that, right through there. Okay, on both sides, you see what I've done here. Shoulder blades are pushed apart, working through anything I can catch as I go up and down, and just foam rolling everything through there, okay? All right, so that's what you're gonna do. Again, we're just doing biggest bang for the buck, all right? So zero quad, lat, okay? If you're low on time, it's really easy to do. Finish off with just some upper middle back. That feels really good after just working through stuff that isn't great. Next time we'll do this, we'll get into our piriformis. We're gonna get into another big one, which is our calves and soleus, okay? So really working on that, especially if you're a runner or if you're doing a whole bunch of double unders and box jumps and things like plyo stuff. It's gonna feel great when you do that. Also, this will help a ton if you're having some issues with squatting and getting a better range of motion into our ankle, okay? And then we'll finally finish off with some of the little stuff so we can get, we'll get into our pec minor. We're gonna need a bigger ball for that, so this is all a little bit more than you can do with your foam roller. We'll get into those different things and take it from there. All right, see ya.